Hi, welcome back to my life with plants. I'm Newman. Today we're going to do a what's in bloom in my home. Some of these plants I've had for a few years, and some of them I bought already in bud or flower. Anyway, let's get started. I suppose you're wondering why I don't have my mic. Well, it actually came in the other day and I've been trying to connect it. I've been not able to connect it for some reason, even though I've been checking what connections I have on my Bluetooth. Everything is indicating okay, but it won't come on, so we're going to get that checked out. Anyway, the first one is this. It's a mini Phalaenopsis, and I bought this in December, mid-December, and it was already in bud. It has a couple of flowers here that are just starting to die off, and it has many coming on the way. This one has yet to put out a little bit better of a root system. Since it's been in the shop, it has been watered, I think, only once when the stock came in, and it's just up to me to get the roots to grow a little bit better. But patience is the game. But this is a nice, really nice little mini Phalaenopsis right here, and this one hangs in a wire loop on a chain. It's kind of dangling down from close to the window, and it does have a grow light above it. Okay, the next one. So this one is much better flowering. It's got a lot more blooms open on it. Its root system is a bit better than the other one, so it's able to support its flowers a little bit more. And this is probably my favorite because look at these. Look at the color of these flowers. Once again, it's a little mini. Its root system is a lot better than the other one, although I'm able to take care of that. I'll be able to grow its root system much better. It's just a matter of keeping it warm. Remembering, if you do have Phalaenopsis inside your house, it's better to let the plant dry right out in the root system. Make sure it's really dry, so when you put your finger in there that it feels quite crunchy. The sphagnum moss. Mine's growing in sphagnum moss. Don't be afraid of sphagnum moss. It won't kill your orchids. You have to remember that sphagnum moss holds on to water, so you let it dry right out before you water it again. The orchid doesn't need any more water, and it can actually attain humidity from the sphagnum moss, which feeds the roots. So let it dry right out before you water it next time. You won't have any problems at all. So those are my two little mini Phalaenopsis that I bought in bloom. Alright, next up is a Schlumbergia. Another name for it that I like to call it is Zygocactus. The Zygopetalum? No, that's an orchid. Zygocactus, and this one is the winter flowering Christmas cactus. There's another name, and in Japan, where I live here, they like to call it the Denmark cactus, because in Denmark they have a lot of hybridizers over there. And this one has a profusion of pink blooms on it. Zygocactus, because the flowers are zygomorphic, which looks like that they've been cut completely in half. So one side and the other side is completely different. a usual flower will have even sides, whereas this one looks like it's been split in half. So it kind of has the petals that are reflexed underneath and the petals that are standing up over here, and then it has this whole lot of filaments and this real long stamen here. So this is really, really bright pink, and I bought this one in bud. So when I was growing up as a child, I often had zygocactus, and I used to grow them and propagate them, so I know them very well. They love cool conditions, so you want to keep them at about 20 to 25 degrees maximum. Once you reach about 30 degrees, you should be looking for somewhere that's shaded and cool during the summertime. These cacti really enjoy a nice cool atmosphere, and they like regular watering, but make sure that the medium dries in between, but not too much. So this one is actually just a little bit moist right now. Whoops, that fell off. So during this time of the year, and it will set buds and flower. Once again, these are really easy to propagate, as you probably already know. You can cut one of these segments off just underneath the node or where it's connected, and then plant it in some free draining potting mix, and away you go. You can have some new plants. So this is my zygocactus, or Schlumbergia. Did I say Schlumbergia? It's a kind of tropical orchid. I mean Schlumbergia, sorry, Schlumbergia. Schlumbergia is a kind of a really tropical orchid. It has pretty big canes and leaves on it. Well, they call it the banana orchid. Okay, this next one is dripping on the floor. Got watered last week. This is a Cymbidium, and its name is Lovely Movie Gold Rush, and it's a pretty big plant. As you can see here, we have these fully open blooms. I love these colors. I love these lovely bright colors. Yeah. And in case, I'm just going to give you a warning ahead. If I call these plants by the wrong color, that's just because I got a little color blindness. So sometimes I make mistakes about what I'm looking at, but I'm pretty sure it's yellow. If it's green, then I'm making a mistake, so bear with me on that. But in my eyes, I think I'm looking at yellow here, and it could be a red, because usually they are. It's got some kind of a red on the lip here. So that's one flower spike, and on the other one we have all these buds ready to go. I keep this one out of the air-conditioned rooms. If you have it in the air-conditioned room and it gets up to warm, starts to get warm, all of the buds will be shed off. It's a cool-growing orchid. And once this is all finished flowering and doing its thing, it's going to become a garden orchid, still potted up like it is. I do have another one. It's Fairy Castle or something like that, and that one hasn't set any buds yet because it's got to get through the winter here. It's been getting through temperatures right down to -4 degrees, close to -5. Today it's barely 1 degree, and it's out there, it's fine, hasn't had any leaf damage whatsoever. It's underneath a shrub growing out there, and that one is a true test of what a Cymbidium can go through. Bearing in mind over here we have drier winters, so rainy days are very far and few between. We had 40 days of no rain, and then finally it rained for the first time. During very early spring we will have mild light rains. There's some fragrance coming out of this, and another thing is that I bought this whole plant for about $20. It just depends on the suppliers, but usually these go for anything from $80 to $100. And this is my Cymbidium. Lovely movie Gold Rush. Okay, next up is an orchid. Usually I do this on my orchid shorts or videos, but this one is in bloom in a very pale blue. If we get that right. Pale blue with white, and this is a Vanda hybrid, Lou Schneri. And it's got Falcata in it, which is the native Japanese orchid, and another one is a Vanda from Vietnam, as I can recall. It's got a little bit of damage on the leaves here that was done during a little cold snap in the autumn with a little bit of water. But it won't spread, it's fine. I got this one as a gift from a friend. And I water it when it gets really, really dry. During the summertime it gets plenty of water. It's pretty heat tolerant too, which surprises me. So these are the flowers. There's these beautiful butterfly looking flowers on it. And it has a typical Vanda Falcata, the tubular part connected to the labellum that has the nectar in it, and also attracts moths or butterflies. Once this one has properly opened all of its flowers, it takes 1 to 2 weeks or longer before the fragrance comes out. So right now it's very, very faint. I'm starting to get it. So it's starting to come now. This one is just like a Falcata. It will actually clump. So usually a lot of Vandas will send up branches like halfway or 3/4 up. This one will actually clump from the bottom, right at the bottom of the stem where it's in the medium. It will start producing offsets. Hasn't done so yet, but it will do. So this is quite hardy because my friend's been growing it outside for years, and she had this one. Yeah, so there it is, Vanda Falcata Lou Schneri. I was just about to end the video, and I had completely forgotten that I had the begonia in flower. So here it is here, and this thing was Mealybug City when I got it. And the funny story is that when I was at the station, this is after work, I picked it up. So I saw it was for a good price and really large plant, and I thought I'd give it a try and grow some begonias because I don't really grow any. And I had mealybug all over it, and as I was waiting on the platform for the train, I was busy squashing them. So you know what? Just by going over the leaf, I've done this many times with plants, just going big by going over the leaves. And if you're going blind like me, I had to put my glasses on, and as I was inspecting all the leaves, I was squashing all the mealybugs, and you know what? I got most of them, and I haven't actually had any. Well, not as many. I had one or two, a few here and there, but I've squashed those too. And within the last few months, I haven't seen any at all. But I did put a sprinkling of a insecticide on the soil, and the plant sucks it up into its system. So I think that helped a bit too. But here they are. Here, these are the flowers on this Begonia Rex hybrid. So the word Rex will ring in the minds of some growers, and they're kind of not, it's not a favorite, but it's for the person that really needs something that's hardy and easy to care for. So Rex begonias are your way to go before you start getting into the species. So this one has these lovely white flowers that have opened, well, one's opened up so far. What's really interesting is that, I don't know if we can catch this on the camera, but it's pretty pubescent. So it's got this fine hair running right up the pedestal. And even the back of the petals are pubescent, which is really neat looking. So the interesting is that every night the petals actually fold up, just like a oxalis, that weed that you see in the garden, and it has four petals, or six petals, and, or is it four? And it's kind of a weed that you have in your garden, and if you notice every night, actually they fold up and close. Well, that kind of does that too. So that lets me know that butterfly or bee pollinated, most probably bees. Being a begonia, what's interesting is that bumblebees are attracted to these flowers, and the only way that they can get the pollen from out of the nectaries, which are right in the middle there, is that they're not freely available at all. They're actually trapped in little coils, spiraling coils, and inside is all the pollen, and the bee has to grab onto the flower and hold on with all its might with its legs while it beats its wings, and the vibration vibrates all of the pollen out of those tubes, and then the bumblebee can get the nectar, pollen. So that's pretty neat. I discovered that as a child while I was watching the begonias in the garden, and I thought, well, that bee looks like it's in trouble. That bumblebee looks like it's been caught by a mantis or a spider. And I kind of went in, and my eyes were better then, so I didn't need glasses. And I noticed that a lot of yellow pollen was coming out, and I was pretty intrigued by that. So after that, I would see bumblebees come in, grab onto the flower and beat their wings to get all of that pollen from out of those nectaries. So this is its latest leaf. It's put out this nice big, looks like a big twisty cake with a spiral in the middle, kind of like a snail shell or a coil. And we have many more buds on the way, so this thing is really going well. I don't know if I'm pointing in the right direction, but right in there we got a lot of buds and new flower spikes. And this is a rhizomus plant, so it has a big old fat rhizome that crawls around in the soil. If it tends to crawl out too much, you can actually cut that out and propagate it, or you can bend it back into the pot. Whatever you do, if it's pushing out its rhizome right out of the pot too far, it'll cause it to not produce such or large enough leaves. I keep this moist, so when it starts to dry out, I'll give it another good water. And it's in cool intermediate temperatures around 15 degrees, 10 to 15. If I turn the heater on, it'll get up to 18 degrees. It has nice warm sunshine, just warm, very ambient sunshine, not hot, very, very mild. Once the spring comes around, it'll probably go and burst out with more growth, but definitely in the summertime, this one will have to be moved outdoors to a shaded position around the side of the house where the ferns grow. It's going to have to go there. So this is my Begonia Rex. Okay, I got something dropped on the floor. Pick it up. Okay, so if you're a begonia grower, then this doesn't apply to you because you're already probably halfway there to being an expert. But anyone that's a little bit afraid about growing begonias, here is a cane begonia. And if you want something that's has beautiful leaves, and you want it in your home, then I recommend a cane begonia. So this one's not in flower, it's not part of the flowering video I'm doing, but I just want you to see these big, huge leaves that have come out on it. And check out how big these are. Now the wrinkly ones at the bottom were like that because it was in the nursery and it was a little underwatered. Sometimes it gets crispy leaves on the tips. That's probably because it's gone under 50% humidity. About 50% is plenty. I think once you get down below 30%, you might get a little bit more crisping on here, below 30, okay? If you just want to keep the humidity up, just get a little mini humidifier and that will do fine, and you just set it next to your begonia plant. Other than that, you don't have to have this in a grow cabinet or anything like that. It's not required for the cane begonia. But these are the leaves that are put out for me. 50% normal household humidity. It gets a little ambient sunshine in the late afternoon, very late, for roughly between an hour. The rest of the time it's just bright light, and it's actually offset from a window. So it's not in front of the window, but it's off just behind the curtain. And I water it when it gets dry. I give it plenty of water. I do use the dechlorinizer that you use for fish tanks. I do use that in my water. Sometimes these begonias will, at times, and they have old canes, the cane might fall off with some leaves on it. Don't panic, that's normal. These plants will sever their stems in order to grow fresh new stems, and don't be afraid to cut them down, okay? So once it gets old and raggedy looking, and you got a big long old stem with lots of growth just on the top, you can cut it right down. It'll actually do it some real good. And after you've given it a cut, give it a nice fresh repot and some nice airy potting mix, and away it'll go growing again. And with all the little cuts you make, you can propagate those. So this is my Begonia Juanita. Pretty sure it's called Juanita. That's all I can remember. But I just wanted to point that out to you guys, that maybe you want a begonia and you want to start something, or you can start cane begonias, okay? Alright, so that wraps it up for now. I did see some buds on some other orchids that I keep indoors over the winter because outside is far too cold for them, the tropicals. But I have a Leptotes bicolor, which is kind of a sprawling miniature orchid that has pretty round cylinder terete thick leaves, succulent leaves, and I saw a bud poking out of there, so that's good. And I have some good stuff going on there. Some of my Tillandsias I'll just pop this in the video while I'm at it. During the bright winter sunlight, this one started to get a little bit dried up on the tips, but no need to panic. I'm going to spray this. Probably I water these once a week. I'm just going to give it a good spray over an extra day of the week and back it up from the window so it's not getting so much direct sun. That's just a tip for your Tillandsias if you're growing them. If they're getting a bit dry, just back them up a little bit from the window like I have there. Ta-da. Okay. Also, I'm going to show you my Phalaenopsis. I've got 5 phals that have been growing for a few years now. One of them have been growing for a good old 6 years or longer, and that one's got a mass of flower buds on it. So that will be my next, could be my next video. I'm going to show you all those Phalaenopsis in flower. And then I'll go over just a little few care tips here and there that will help you with your own Phalaenopsis, because those orchids seem to have a reputation by some to be a no-go zone where you just leave it in the plant nursery. It's just something to look at, but definitely I wouldn't buy it. And then you get people that are really good at growing them. But I'm just going to give you the all-around best growing tips that I have that should work for anybody. And yeah, until next time, we'll let you go now because that's all that I have in flower. But just before we go, here's a Nepenthes, which is another plant that you can actually grow too. It's only about 50% humidity in this room and it's unheated. Today I've decided to turn the air pump on because it's about 1 degree outside. It's a maximum of about 15. And we have this one here. This is Nepenthes. Well, the name's not going to come. Come on, memory, work. You can see up there that it's starting to put out another picture. I got Raja stuck in my head. Nepenthes Gaia. There you go, Gaia. So if you're looking for a Nepenthes that you can grow in your cool room, Nepenthes Gaia is your way to go. This one's been pretty tough. Unheated room here. Gets down to 10 degrees. Got some jewel orchids. Not in flower, but growing quite well. And something that shows some stress in the winter is my Hoya Bella that likes to drop leaves off. But this could be part of its natural cycle, even probably behaves like this in its natural habitat too. But I noticed that when it gets really cold, like on days like this, it'll drop a few more leaves. There goes one. Nothing to panic about. It's just the temperatures are getting a little too low. And what will happen here is that I'm just going to take cuttings. So I'll take nice cuttings, and this will start branching up more. And it's kept in a little pot. Look at that. So for those of you that like to pot your things up in huge pots, I recommend keeping your growing media healthy and keeping your pots rather small. Don't get them too big. Unless you want to have a big bushy monster that gets out of control and maybe drags down your curtain rails because it's such a monster. Or if you want to keep them a happy medium size, that's up to you. If you want to grow your big monster, then go ahead and pot them up bigger. But for me, I don't want them to get too out of hand, too heavy, too hard to carry around. got some nice new growth here on this Hoya Carnosa Crimson Princess. Crimson Princess is a drinker. Look, likes to drink a lot, so it has always some water in its reservoir. However, its water should be nutritious and safe. That's why I use the dechlorinizer water conditioner, right? It's a nice big leaf. And anyway, that's it. Okay, so I'll let you go. Thanks for watching. And yep, thanks for subscribing and taking the time out to actually watch. And I hope that you learned something. And I hope I gave you some good advice about begonias, and if you don't have any, give them a try and enjoy your plants. And until next time, don't forget that looking after your plants is not a chore, it's part of your self-care. Until next time, bye bye. One last thing before I go, I got this cosmetic brush, and I must say that while I'm brushing my face with it, it does feel really good. I could do this all day. It just make me go to sleep. This comes in real handy for brushing all that dust off. Of course, if I could use two hands, I'll put one hand underneath the leaf and just go along like this, but this big cosmetic brush, I mean, I've been dusting all my plants, so I've become a dustaholic. I actually dusted a whole plant within half a minute. I got all the dust off my Phalaenopsis, right in the cracks there too. You can get right in there, look, and dust all the dust out of my plants. So this is the growing tip for you. Just thought I'd show you that, and until next time, we'll see you. Bye bye.